Hi everyone, welcome to 30-minute yoga class on Thursday, October 29th, and it's hard to believe we're at that date in this month, kind of crazy. Hopefully you've got some fun plans for the weekend, and we get to enjoy an extra hour of sleep maybe, if that's when you're going to take advantage of your extra hour. So some things to look forward to. If you've got little ones, hopefully you're able to celebrate Halloween if that's what you enjoy doing. So lots to look forward to this weekend. For our yoga class, make sure that you've got an area where you can spread out a little bit, a yoga block, or maybe you even want to have a chair nearby. If we're doing any balance poses, just something that you can grab onto, or something that brings the floor a little higher up to you. If you need assistance with balance poses, have a drink nearby, and really important is you take this class at your own pace. So if we're doing planks and you want knees down, do that. If we're doing balance poses and you'd rather have both feet grounded on the floor, then do that. Okay? We're going to get started going down into Savasana. So make your way down, slowly lowering the back, the shoulders, in your head. Maybe just move around and adjust a little bit, get comfortable. And then when you finally land in that comfortable spot, just kind of let go and let the body sag down and connect to the floor. You can even do one last little contraction through the toes and the fingers. Extend and then just relax. And get rid of any tension that you might be holding there. Sometimes I actually just open my mouth a little bit, separate the teeth, just to ensure that I don't have any tension through the jaw. And peel that tongue away from the top of my mouth. Relax through the brows. And again, for the first time in your day, you may be actually thinking about breathing and hearing your breathing and feeling more than usual your breathing as the chest and the abdomen rise and fall, and we hear the breath in and out through our nose. To exaggerate the breathing, we might even try to get a little louder. So it's almost like you're trying to steam up a mirror that might be just underneath your nostrils. And you're directing that air down towards that imaginary mirror, feeling it pass through the back of your throat. Make those breaths a little longer, a little deeper. Now in through the nose and hold at the top. Open the mouth, exhale audibly. Do that again, inhale. Hold. Open your mouth and exhale. A few more times at the pace of your breath. And back in and out through the nose. Just regular breathing. Going to extend our hands above our head, Reach in opposite directions, fingers and toes. Deep breath in. And exhale, bring those knees into your chest. Hold those knees in, rock back and forth. You can keep your eyes closed, or you can gently start to open, but keep a soft gaze. That's up to you. And coming to stillness, bringing those arms between your knees and your feet. As though they're going to walk on the ceiling, your hands can rest on your shins and your ankles or the outside of your feet. Happy baby. And once you get into your pose, you can hold it still or you can start to rock again. And let's bring those knees back into the chest. Lifting the right arm above your head, rolling over to the right side. Pushing up with your top arm and making our way into table. Spreading those fingers nice and wide, pressing your elbow creases forward. And we're going to sink down the belly. Inhale in our cow position. And then exhale as we round into our cat position and pull the belly up into the spine. Back into cow, chest open, inhale. Cat, exhale, round the back. A few more at your pace. And on your last one, we're going to finish up and land in a flat back table position. I'm just moving my hands in a little bit because I'm going to prop up. I'm going to put a little bit more weight onto my hands as I lift my knees and just hover about an inch or so from your mat. Really engage the core. Making sure we're not holding our breath. And slowly come down. Extend the arms, stretch back just a little bit into puppy pose. And then back into your table. Let's do a second hover. So core is tight. Keeping your gaze down towards your fingers, so not cranking the neck. And then slowly bring it down. Move those hands slightly forward, and we're going to go into our first downward facing dog. A chance to walk out those legs and warm up those muscles all the way down the back of the legs. So it's a slow walk. No running here. And don't feel like you have to press your heel to the ground. You know where you're going to feel the stretch, and that's what we're aiming for, just a stretch. Not a destination of heels on the floor. Come to stillness here, and we're going to press our chest towards the floor, head coming through the arms just a bit more, and pointing the tail up towards the ceiling. Up onto your toes a bit more, bend those knees, look forward to your hands. Walking up to the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, down. Inhale all the way up. Forward fold. Flat back. Hands down, step back. One leg, then the other. We can go high or low plank, so we can do this move with knees down or keeping your knees up. As we slowly lower down and keep the elbows close to our upper body, top of your feet onto your mat, and then just lift up the chest slightly into a cobra. Maybe a squeeze through the glutes as well. Flipping those toes, pressing back either right through table or directly into downward facing dog. You can walk those feet again, or just hold your dog here. And bend the knees up on your toes. Make your way to the top of your mat, flat back. Exhale down. Inhale all the way up. Forward fold. Flat back. Hands down, stepping back. Second flow, Chaturanga Dandasana. Add push-ups if you want to. We can come back a little higher into a higher cobra, or starting to make our way into upward facing dog. And then meeting in downward facing dog. And let's do that one more time. Up on your toes, knees bend. Maybe you're hopping to the top of your mat. Maybe you're walking. Your choice. Inhale all the way up. Forward fold. Flat back. And last time, just step back and do a flow with or without push-ups. And maybe this time you're into a full upward facing dog. Pushing back into downward facing dog. We're going to lift the left leg, but just before we start lifting the leg to the back, let's just bend the knees and then go into the lift. See if that feels any different for you. Bring that knee into your nose. And bring that foot up in between your hands. Making your way up into Crescent Lunge. So your feet are a little wider apart on your mat, side to side. They're not directly behind each other. Arms are raised. Although we always have the option of heart center. And now on the back foot, raise a little higher onto the ball of your foot. Feel the muscles in the back leg working just a little differently as you come up a little higher. And as we hold our poses, let's really focus on our breathing. Relax any areas that are holding tension. Let's bring those hands down. We're going to get ready to push and bring our weight forward over our front foot. And then we're going to just hover the back foot, and I didn't do that very well. We're going to hover the back foot and start to go into our warrior three. So as your leg starts to lift, you equally bend forward through your upper body. Decide where it's comfortable for you. Grounding with the foot that's remaining on the floor. Keeping your eyes focused on a spot that's not moving. The leg that is lifted, your toes are pulling back towards your knee. Try to have your hips facing towards the floor and not starting to open. Slowly coming back up and bring that knee forward. Let's just hug it in. Arm comes out to the side and we open that knee like a book. And bringing it back in and step down. Inhaling. Swan dive down. Flat back. Hands down, we're going to step back. Both feet. Hold your plank. We're going to zip our legs together and roll over onto the right side so that our right arm is pressing up. Your option for a lower side plank is to have your bottom leg bent, knee on the ground. And we can even come down to a side plank with an elbow on the ground. So those are all options. If you're holding the high plank through all of my talking, good for you. Another option is to lift your top leg. Slowly bring that down into a full plank, doing a flow with or without your push-ups, upward facing dog or cobra, and downward facing dog. And again, before we lift our second side leg, let's just do a knee bend slightly and then press up with the right leg. Toe pulling back towards your knee. And now bring that knee in towards your nose. Step forward between your hands. And coming up into Crescent Lunge. So some of our balance poses and side planks, they ask a little bit more of us, and we may be finding that our heart rate is starting to increase. Our breathing is a little more rapid. As we're holding poses, try to not shorten your breath. Now, getting ready to ground your front foot. Bring the arms down, lean slightly forward, and come into a balance pose. So all four corners of that foot on the ground should be connecting to the floor. We're lifting the back leg. If you don't like the balance pose, you can stay in your crescent lunge. As we lift the leg to the back, we lean forward, keeping our eyes focused on something that's not moving and trying not to open our hips. Also an option to reach forward. I find this one more challenging. You might like it better. Slowly coming out of our warrior three with the knee coming forward. Just hug in. Right arm out to the side as we open our knee like a book to the left. And come back to center and step down. Deep breath in. Swan dive down. Flat back. Hands down, stepping back. Holding your plank pose. Knowing we're going into side plank, second side, so decide high or low plank. Knee down, knee up, elbow down, elbow up. And we're on to our second side and adding top leg lifting if that's an option for you. Again, checking to make sure we're not shortening our breath. Maybe lifting that hip a little higher. Slowly bringing that down, facing your mat, and going through your flow. Pressing back into downward facing dog. Just hold, and a deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth and exhale. Doing that again, inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale. Up onto the toes, bend the knees. Let's walk forward. Flat back. Exhale. Inhale all the way up. Hands to heart center. I'm turning to face the camera, and I've got my block close. So I'm going to stand first on my left side, so I'm going to have my block on the left side of my body. Going into a crow pose. So again, I want to ground my left foot, pop up onto my right toe, and then gradually cross over like I'm crossing my legs, and I can actually land my right toes on that block. Just for a little bit of stability as we start here. Squeezing our thighs together. So we're tightening our legs as they're crossed. And I always try to remember if my right leg is crossed on the top, my right arm is going to go on the bottom. So I've seen crow done both ways. So we can hug our shoulders. We can have one elbow locked into the other and meet the back of our hands, or we can
double bind our hands so that our palms are meeting. And with those legs crossed, we slowly sit down, trying to keep the chest up and trying to lift the elbows a little higher. And as we move into the balance part of the pose, we can take the toe off the block, and it's there if we need it. Keep your breathing going. Slowly come up, release, and walk it out. Moving the block to the other side of your body. So now we're going to ground our right foot. The block is on our right side. Find your balance. Getting ready, cross over. Left leg over right. Use the block if you want to as we start. And now my left arm is going under. I can hug shoulders. I can meet back of hand. Or I can double bind my hands. I squeeze those legs and I slowly start to sink down. Again, eyes focused on one spot that's not moving. Chest up. Lifting those elbows a little higher. And if you can, hips a little lower. Squeeze those legs. And slowly come out. Release down, and I'm going to make my way back to the top to meet you at the top of our mats. And a big inhale. Swan dive down. Flat back. Hands down, stepping back. Your last flow. Chaturanga Dandasana. And before we go into downward facing dog, we're going to land our knees. Take them a little wider than your feet and sit back into a child's pose. For a stretch through the shoulders, upper back, you keep those arms extended out front, or you can bring them around to your side. Slowly coming back up into table, and we're going to bring those legs out in front, sitting up nice and tall, making any adjustments you need to so you can feel that you're on your sits bones, and now flexing those toes back towards your knees. Inhaling, and exhale as you keep the chest open but start to lean from the hips. Pause when you feel a stretch, recognizing we don't have these knees locked, they have a slight bend. Slowly come back. Adjust anything that you need to before we go into our second stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Again, leaning forward from the hips, feeling that stretch down the back of the legs. And slowly coming back. We're going to bend those knees, adjust those hips just a little bit so that we can make our way down onto our backs. And we're going into a figure four. So let's first rise. We're going to land our left foot and lift up our right leg. And then start to cross. So right ankle over right knee. And in this position, without taking any further increases in intensity, just focus on where you feel a stretch. So likely right hip flexor area, maybe a little bit into the glutes. And now some options. You can rise up onto the toe of the left foot and gently start to bring that entire figure four in towards your chest. Having both toes pulling back towards your knees. Your hands can go through the keyhole, grab on behind your left thigh.
You can even lift up the head and the shoulders. Slowly come back down. Bringing both feet on the ground, wider than your hips. And windshield wipers, side to side. Let's get some kinks out through the hips there. And back to center. Bring the feet in, land your right foot. And it's close to your glutes. Lifting up your left foot, toes flexing back towards your knee, and then cross over. So again, right here, without adding any more intensity, with just a gentle press, with no pressure from hands, just the leg itself trying to open, we can feel some of the stretching going on in the hip area. You want to increase up onto the toe of your right foot and then start to bring the entire figure 4 in towards your chest. Let's pull those toes back. Arms can go between the keyhole. And again, option to lift up your head and shoulders. Slowly lowering down. Feet go wider than your hips. And windshield wipers again. Now let's extend the legs. We're going to take the left foot to the left bottom corner. And then we're going to take the right foot and cross it over. So your ankles are crossed, but you're at the left lower corner. And now we're going to raise our arms up above our head. And our left arm goes to the top left corner. And our right arm reaches over. And we start to have a little bit of a crescent shape in our body. So our hips have stayed in the center of our mat, but our legs and our hands have gone into the corner. And you'll feel a nice opening on the right side of your body. Slowly come back to center with your arms, bring them back down by your side. And let's move to the other side. So the right foot to the right bottom corner. Your left foot crosses over. Your right arm up to the right corner. And your left hand reaches to meet it, and you get into a crescent shape. If you want to intensify this at all before you went into the move, we could have shifted our hips over to the left a bit more. So that's always an option if you want a really big crescent, really big stretch. And let's bring those arms back to your side and feet. Let's bring them in one more time. One last move we're going to do is our bridge. It doesn't have to be big. I'm just going to bring those ankles in really close to your buns. As we inhale, we press up. We squeeze our thighs together. We squeeze our glutes together. Doing nothing with your hands, or you can grab onto the edges of your mat and just add a little more tension. Slowly roll down through the back, one vertebrae at a time. Knees in and rolling into a little ball. Maybe a little bit of motion. And I invite you to take any last moves you want. Do you want another happy baby? Do you want to do waterfall? Whatever your body needs. Or maybe you're ready to go right into our final Savasana. And if that's the case, you extend those legs, let the ankles relax and the toes fall out to the outside of your mat. And your arms are a little wider than your body, palms facing up. built up tension during class. See if you can find it, send your breath there, and try to relax. And just breathing for a minute or so until I bring you back. Gently bring your focus back onto your mat. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe roll your wrists and ankles. Keeping your gaze soft. Bring those knees in. When you're ready, rolling over to one side or the other. Pressing up. And coming to seated position on your mat. A few last final breaths. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for making it an enjoyable practice, challenging practice, and a meaningful practice. Namaste. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you.